up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy, MM2K of PNTS Network and StadiaDosage, here with another Saturday checkup. And the scenery is a little bit different, but I think you're still going to love the content all the more. And if what we just recorded for the members is indicative of what's going to happen with the main show, man, oh man, oh man, you're in for a treat. Daryl Smock Jr. couldn't join us today. I know, don't cry. However, I think we brought in someone to fill in his slot that's going to do a hell of a job. Shout out to our good friend, Main Games. Main, what is going on?
Yo, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me. I appreciate you inviting me out, man, and I'm excited to have this conversation, man. Let's get into it, man.
Absolutely. So, again, this is the show. The show that you're watching right now is the show. If you're watching this video on demand, that we air for the public. If you're a member, you didn't see the member recording, after you watch this, you want to go catch the first 20 minutes because we had a hell of a call. Well, the first minute and a half, we kind of had like a blooper. But after that minute and a half, we got the sound on and we had a hell of a discussion in regards to Xcloud. So you definitely want to check that out. All right. With that said, man, we got some great topics today. Today, we want to talk about, of course, the big news, Stadia Keynote. I want to talk about GFN marketing pivot.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we're going to get into game vibes. That's our session where we talk about what is it that we're excited to be either gaming on or something that we're excited that's coming to the platform. What were we a little disappointed with? And then lastly, what do we want to see coming to the platform? All right. But before we get started, Main's done a fantastic job. He knocked it out of the park on SSC Podcast. If you haven't seen it, episode 87, check it out. With that said, for those that may not be familiar with you, Main, that may be sleeping under a rock, can you introduce yourself? Let the people know a little bit where they can about you and what is it that you do on social media and so forth.
Sure. My name is Main Games. I'm a YouTuber. I'm also on Twitch as well. I do streaming, but I also do videos that have to do with motivational things, trying to get people who are either potentially getting into streaming or are, currently streaming, tips and tricks. Primarily people who also are let's say they're parents. I'm a dad of 3 and I have other things that are going on, but I still want to pursue this. And just giving people the motivation and the inspiration, the encouragement to figure out a way to make it work for you and work for them and ways to pursue their passion with purpose. So that's pretty much what I do there. I also play all kinds of games, too. I play on the cloud. I play on PC. I play on iPad. I play on iPhone. I play everywhere. But I just love games and I love being able to share that stuff with everybody else and helping people enjoy those things and, teach them along the way as well. So I do all kind of things. I'm like a jack of all trades in a way. At least that's what I think I am. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I do there on YouTube and on Twitch. But you can find me on social media at main_games on Twitter. And then I'm also on Twitch, main_games there. And then YouTube, just main space games. So catch me there. I also have a Patreon that I have that I'm working on too. That's Patreon. That's my daughter in the background. She's frustrated with the iPad. It's not working for her right now. But I'm on Patreon as well, working on some content there, and it's Patreon/Main Games as well. So I'm kind of got all these plates spinning, but I appreciate you having me here, man. And that's pretty much what I do. And hopefully that if you guys are interested in the content, come check me out.
Definitely, this is an up and coming star in the community. And we're honored to have him here. And you definitely want to check out his content, man. Just brother got a good head on his shoulders. He knows where he wants to go with his content. And
yes, sir.
You can't get any better than that when you're listening to a content creator. So definitely sign up. Main, you're a mod on this chat, so when you get a chance to make sure you drop all those links as well so people know.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you. I will.
But yeah, we're gonna have some hellified discussions today. But before we get into the discussions, I want to remind everybody that we got a couple of things happening this month, some big things happening this month as far as giveaways. Yes, y'all gonna have me on government cheese and navy beans by the time this month is over. What do I mean? Well, first and foremost, we're giving away a bundle pack, a Stadia controller and a CCU with Chromecast, Chromecast Ultra with Google TV. We're giving that away. We're registering all of the members on the 25th. So in order for you to be eligible to win that, if you're listening to this, you need to be a member of this channel. So hit that join button if you're not a member. And everybody gets a ticket if you're a member. Okay, so become a member. Nice. We're going to probably do the giveaway, I want to say on the 28th. I think we might do it on we might do it on the 26th, because the 26th we have another Saturday checkup scheduled, and with the last giveaway we did on the Saturday checkup, and that was fun as hell. So I think we're going to do the next giveaway on the 26th. We're going to tally everybody on the 25th, do it on the 26th, and then on the 27th, the return of the Numbers Show for Stadia, the show that's hosted by me and Jack Deslip, the best Stadia stats show out there, returns, and we're going to be doing giveaways there. So Jack and I were going to be broke, like I said. We're going to be sharing pants and socks and all that stuff, all for your sake for this month. Okay, so I guess this is our version of March Madness, or March Money Madness. We're giving away a whole bunch of stuff, so stay in tune with that. Also, if you are a writer and you want to write about video games, and you want a platform free where no one's breathing down your neck, no, say this, say that, say this, come on and reach out to us at PNTS Network. The frontline representatives for this particular initiative is Jack Deslip and myself. Let us know. We're working on compensation. There's more to come on that. We're working on compensations for stories, how often, all types of stuff. So if you want to, again, write, and it's not just Stadia that we'll focus on Stadia right now, but I am looking for somebody to do some other stuff like Xbox or whatever. But the compensation initiative right now is for any Stadia writers. If you want to write about Stadia, reach out to Jack Deslip and myself. And if you're just interested in writing all together and you want to write about any other platform, reach out to me, and we'll we'll chat, and we'll see what we can do as far as getting you set up. All right. So now we got all the preliminaries out the way, Maine. It's now time to talk games.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start it. We know the big deal, the big ticket, the showcase. We had the Stadia Keynote and the Stadia Keynote slides, or whatever you want to call it, that were aired on the 15th. It was a big event. Shout out to the homie John Scar. Let me not forget. On Monday, what date is that? I guess that's going to be the 21st. On the 21st, I'm going to be guest hosting with John Scar and PSX Cloud on John Scar's channel on Stadium Connect North. They're going to have a special episode where they're doing a special interview. That's all I can say. With a special interview, I'm going to be guest hosting on there. Definitely check that out and be ready for that. That being said, John, man, he had over 119 people watching the damn. I think there was more people on his channel watching the showcase than on Google's channel. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So shout out to John. The keynote, man. The purpose of the keynote, I think, was to let people know that at least Stadia retail is not going anywhere. There's a lot of hoopla about, it's only going to be business to business, but it looks like the Stadia retail isn't going anywhere. So I'm going to ask you, Maine, get your thoughts. You've seen the showcase. What are the pros of the showcase to you, and what are the cons?
I think that for me, it was the fact that they it's a developer summit, right? So it was a developer showcase. So it was all about the background stuff, the nitty gritty. It's the I think honestly that it was really more geared towards the developers themselves than us. Yeah. I think that the pro of that was that it was Stadia's way to entice developers. Hey, listen, we're making things a lot easier for you guys as far as porting, as far as bringing your games here. There's a lot of things that we may have done in the past that may have, seemed like a misstep or may have made it difficult for you to do that. We're making the strides to say, hey, we understood, we listened to you guys, and we're seeing all the things you guys are doing and want to do. Let's go ahead and let's work again. Let's work together again. Let's get the relationship started again. We made it easier over here. We did this over here. We did this over here. Bring your games to us. We're ready now. I think that the pro was that a lot of the developers are like, okay, we're seeing that you guys are doing whatever you guys can to work on the stuff on the Linux end and all the different things on the background, the back end stuff, the porting, how you can run certain games, the bottlenecking, all those different things that developers would love to hear and love to see. This was that chance for them to say, okay, they're making the advances that they need to make sure that the games that we have and games we want to bring to the cloud gaming platform, that they make it easier for us to do. And I think that's one of the pros of that, is that from that standpoint, hopefully they got the answer that they wanted this whole time. Yep. I see the con to that, though, the con to the show, is just from a viewer standpoint, right? I think the only con is that it wasn't for everybody. Like it wasn't for the people who didn't care about the behind the scenes stuff. They put out a poll and a lot of us wanted to see that stuff. So there's still a minority of those people in that community that wanted to see this stuff. It wasn't like there were some people who were still looking for games, There were still some people watching, like they told me it was a developer summit and they still like, when you're going to drop that trailer though. They're like, this isn't that. So I think there's a lot of people that you would probably see it as a con, like, oh, okay, well, I understand. It was like, I understand y'all said development, but where that new Apex at? You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't, this wasn't for them. And I think that for people who probably tuned in and were expecting some kind of E3 kind of thing, even though they had, they released games, they showed trailers of games that was coming before the summit happened, they still were looking at it like, well, this was whack. Well, it wasn't for you. Yep. But I can see how some people would see that as a con. To me, it wasn't a con, but I would see that being objective, people would see it that way. I just really thought that it was a really good way for Stadia to really get their product out there and let other developers know that we're now ready to do business again. Let's get together and let's get your games on our platform today.
Yep. Yeah, I kind, and then for those that are watching too, I forgot to mention this. For those that are watching this on demand, either on demand or watching this on Saturday via Premiere, there's a video, a short video or a shorter video. For me, it's short because y'all know I can babble for like 5 hours straight nonstop without gasping for air. There's a 20-minute video where I give my pros and cons too, but I wanted to get that out of the way so we could hear Maine give his. You know what I mean? But I will add that I wholeheartedly agree. As you can tell by the video, what Maine had to say, and I do think it's just a shame that some people still were like, you told us what it is, but you're gonna give us something different. You know what I mean? So, right.
Like no, but that just goes with the territory. We're gonna see Titanfall 3.
Exactly.
No, it's not. None of that. It's not what it is. Yeah. This is a strictly under the hood, behind the scenes stuff, analytics. Graphs, numbers, systems, networks, all this is what that was.
Exactly. Well, I mean, even the people that I think they said, we get it. It's only a games conference, and yes, people shouldn't complain about it. But at the end, they're gonna show you Elden Ring.
Exactly. Right. Elden Ring coming to the platform 2023. No, that's not what this was about.
They still could do that. Like, no, just get that out of your head. I mean, anything's possible. Hell, me and Maine could have been presenters there. Anything's possible. Right. But that don't mean it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So, let's get that out of our minds. Here's something interesting that I brought up day before yesterday. I hope it didn't ruffle any feathers. I was kind of like blunt talking about it, but I think it's time for us to get a little, and like I say this in the video earlier, I just think it's time for us to put things in the proper chronological order. We heard a lot of people say, and I had a personal conversation, a shout out to the person I had the conversation with behind the scenes. I know they cursing me out under their breath, like, how dare you front on me like that? I'm not fronting, I'm just saying, I'm just letting you know why, when you threw it out there, I bypassed you, good brother. But when I was having a conversation, and I've seen plenty of conversations out on the periphery, man, where people were saying, okay, but I still want to see hardware upgrades. And I get why they want to see them, but I think what Google showed, and I want to get your thoughts on this, I think what Google showed was why hardware upgrades don't make sense right now. Like, people are having difficulty just developing for the platform. So it doesn't matter what headroom there is. If they can't get past the basic coding and porting, they'll never get to the part to where they utilize that hardware.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? And again, those that say, you know what Google needs to work on first and foremost before any of this is hardware upgrades.
I think that people need to understand, just with anything, if you just want to take a real world or natural approach to it, is that you got to crawl before you can walk.
Exactly.
You gotta build systems first. You gotta lay the foundation, the groundwork first. I think that imagine all the vitriol and all the things that we're gonna hear if they decide to go ahead and acquiesce and say, okay, you know what? We'll go ahead and give you all the hardware advancements that you want, right? We're gonna give you all that stuff that you want, and then you turn around and you can't run shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, or you'll
be mad.
Can you imagine? Yeah, we Far Cry, or not just Far Cry. We have now raised the cap. Games will be capable of 4K 120, and we're still getting 1080p 45. You know what I mean?
Exactly. People don't, but at the same time, this is a great way to that developer summit was a great way to be able to pull back that veil and say, listen, we understand the hardware part, we understand what you guys are looking at and what you want, but that doesn't happen until we have this software part taken care of, and then they can merge together and it works in perfect synergy. You have to have that. You can't just say, like I said, you want to have a house and you want to build it, but you ain't got no frame. What you gonna do? You just come with a stack of bricks.
Exactly. Yep.
Good luck trying to get a roof. You ain't got no foundation.
Exactly.
So you just have to be patient and understand that these things take time. And even in their second year or going into the third year, they have things that they want to do and the routes that they want to go in. And some things don't happen the way that you anticipate. But you have to understand that in cloud gaming, you really have to make sure that your back end is in the forefront before everything else. Absolutely. It sounds weird, but you got to make sure that your back end is in the front. You got to take care of that first.
Exactly. And
then you can start to have all the rest of the stuff that people come to expect.
Yeah, exactly. I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, you put it 20 times better than I have. I know people felt a certain way, man, when I told them, I was like, I don't want to hear nothing about no damn Gen 2.0 anymore. I don't want to hear it. They were like, but Mars, so... No, that's why, because it's chronologically, it's not the time for that yet. And I get what we didn't know last year or the year before, where we thought all the programming ducks were in a row. Now we realize that they weren't. You know what I'm saying? And they're being transparent about that now. They're being open about that now. It's kind of like the conversation me and Maine were having before, I won't get into, but we were kind of talking about people. Well, I guess I can't without getting into names.
Yeah.
We were talking about how people were dismayed. And I was like one of them, like behind the scenes, like, why the hell are we doing this? People were dismayed in 2020 when Google was given Mortal Kombat codes and codes to other games to other people, other content creators and creators that weren't in the Stadia community. And a lot of us were taken aback by that. And what we didn't realize then that we should realize now is that Stadia was falling well behind its million consecutive gamer goal. That was the goal that they had, and I'm pretty sure that they told business partners, hey, you know what? We plan to have 1 million active users. Yep. And they were falling short behind that. So they ran these initiatives with content creators out of our community, because we were great and creating content and nurturing people in the community, but Stadia was needing to get people out of the community. You know what I mean? So now that we know what we know now, Maine, it's time for people to start understanding why this pivot is being handled in the way that it is, in the chronological order that things actually lay in.
And I think that once people start to understand that and start, again, it's all about, I think, objectivity. You got to be objective about it and pull yourself out of the situation. I know sometimes those situations can seem frustrating, and they can cause all these different emotions, anger, disappointment, all these things. Just sometimes it's best to take a step back and look at it from, I mean, sometimes it's difficult to do, but you got to look at it as a business. You got to look at it from another point of view and say, listen, if this was what was happening here, but this is what was expected over here.
Yep.
How can you tie the two together? How can you make things right? And some of the tactics that they needed to do, you know, it didn't sit well with people, and I understand that, but you have to understand that there's also some things behind the scenes. So you got investors, like you were talking about, investors saying, okay, well, where's the ROI? Where's the return on investment? Where's all this stuff going on? And you got now behind, you know, in front of that scene, then you say, okay, well, how are we going to get this all together? How are we going to tie this together? Because we told them that we have this plan, we have this going. What can we do? And so, yeah, I get that there's a lot of people in the community who were upset because they weren't getting access to that content and those keys and such. But you have to understand, like they said, you were already in. Yeah. You were already accounted for. So while I understand that they may have felt left out or may have felt ignored, it wasn't like that, but that's how it was taken. It was, we need to get more people here because this is what we told these guys. Business is tricky. Business is man, and that's in any company. Business is tricky. And you know, so they were like, well, okay, this is what we plan on doing. And then they were like, well, we ain't seeing what you talking about. What's good? Yep. And like, oh, okay, well, hold on, give us a second. We're gonna take care. We're gonna take care of it. And they took the steps that they take. And you have to understand that's how it is sometimes. And you know, you just have to be able to be okay with that. And you know, just see where it goes. Watch what happens and let them do what they have to do. And you know, enjoy the fact that be glad in the fact that you're already there and you're good. And there's other people that they're trying to get to the platform that you enjoy.
Exactly. I mean, we're early in the ride. I mean, these are the early years.
Yeah, man.
Google's not leaving this space. It would be self-destruction. It would be self-destructive for them to leave this space. Can you imagine? We if you weren't part of the member programming, we went and talked about enhancements, you know, serious tangible enhancements to Xcloud. Can you imagine if Xcloud skyrockets, Luna skyrockets, GFN skyrockets, and Google just gave up in the early years? You know what I mean? Like
all that time and resources.
Yes.
And they just walk away. Oh man. Away. Yeah, they have to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah, not while it's still just a 1 or 5% business. Now, if when it's at the apex, when it gets to 25, 30, 45%, and they can't shed water, I get that. But we're nowhere near that right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just about understanding business.
The company's a toddler. Let it grow up a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, let it grow up before you give it a damn SATs.
Right.
You know what I
mean, geez, y'all trying to put it through the bar exam, and it barely can talk.
Yeah, at 3.5. That's the problem. Man. That's the problem. And you couldn't do that with Xbox. Xbox had to grow. And they wanted to come on the scene and be a premier platform. And
they did.
They got their ass kicked. You know, what was it? 150 million to 25?
Yes.
When they had to grow. They had to grow. And look at them now. Now they're buying all these damn studios. Now we thinking it's going to be an Xbox monopoly. You know, you got to get, don't send the 3.5-year-old to the bar. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Let it grow up a little bit. Let it learn some stuff.
Let it rattle some stuff. Watch some Ninja Turtles.
Right.
You know.
Let it make some mistakes. You know what I mean? Let it make some mistakes. Make some good moves. Make some bad moves.
Exactly.
And just let's see what happens.
Jesus, you know, but that's the thing, man, and it frustrates me, and I can tell just from our conversation and that you have a good business acumen on you. Like, I think a lot of us were gamers, and again, not that anybody's better than anybody. It's just we all go through different paths. But I just feel like some people just aren't acclimated to business, and they think there's money, so make it happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't look at resources, planning, what's availability,
overhead, all that stuff. You have to pay attention to all of that because It matters whether or not you see it and you experience it and you feel it. Man, oh man, that matters big time. So you playing your game and you enjoying your services and whatnot, but behind all of that, man, it's a madhouse.
Yep.
It's a madhouse.
And you got to remember too, all the money in the world is not going to make everything happen. Look, Microsoft is one of the richest companies in the world. They would love to be able to produce more consoles. They can't. There's a chip shortage.
Yep. That's how it goes.
We're going to build a plant, and then by next week, it doesn't work like that.
Right. And that's just that, right? That's just the console situation. Then they got this acquisition with Activision. They got to investigate that situation over here. Then they got to see how numbers are over here on all these individual games. How's Game Pass doing? What's the numbers on that? How many people are using Xcloud? And that's just that company. Just factor Stadia and all the things they got going on. Every other company, it's work. It's a lot that goes into that. And we sit here sometimes, and it baffles me that we sit here and we just be like, yo, but why isn't this happening?
Yeah, why is this happening yesterday?
You know what I mean? Like, yo, give it a second. Give it some time. Yeah, I understand that they may not talk to you right away. They may not give you the communication that you expect or you feel like you deserve, but just know that there's always decisions being made probably every hour that impact what you're able to do daily.
Yep.
On the platform that you love.
Yep.
Just cut them some slack.
So it's an interesting thing to see the conversations building around it. But when you look at the factual core of everything in relation to, things have to go and happen in this proper chronological context. And
absolutely,
as much as if that was the silver bullet, better hardware, hell yeah, I'd be advocating for that. But I know it isn't, and I know it would lead to a false equivalent, and it would lead to even more problems. And then Stadia would have a permanent black eye. You guys upgraded, and it still looks the same. You know what I mean?
See? So. Yep, and that's the same conversation we would have. That's the exact conversation we would have. You mean to tell me that y'all upgraded and y'all can't get this shit to run away? That y'all say, we get y'all what y'all want, right?
Cloud gaming is trash, and then the whole you know what I mean? So like, we just got to think it through. So
that's it. That's it. Enjoy the games. Let them make the announcements, and let everything play out. It's all good.
So with that said, I want to ask you two questions.
Sure.
A, what score would you give it? And B, is dependent, regardless of the score.
Yeah.
What do you think Stadia just needs to do for the rest of the year?
Okay, so as far as my score, I would say if we're going from like I say a 1 to 10, I guess rating. Yeah. I would give it I would give it 8, and here's why I would give it an 8. Even though this wasn't for us per se, I think that they delivered in a lot of ways on the promise that they could deliver to developers that are interested in their platform. I think that where it falls short is sometimes I think in some of the conversations and some of the things that they were doing, probably some things weren't clearly explained as much as they probably wanted to. But I think that for the most part, they got their message across, and they let people know that, like I said earlier, that we're in business, we're taking note of everything, and we're here to make sure that we can get, everything, the white labeling and all that thing. Like we're here, we're working on things to be able to get more games to the platform. But like I said, it's just that sometimes maybe some of the path that they took to get there during the presentation, or some of the presentation, some of the presenting wasn't always as clear in some instances. So I think besides that, that's why I would give it an 8. As far as what I think Stadia needs to do for the remainder of the year, honestly, is what we talked about last week. And I don't know if it was on the show or off the show, but I think that they need to continue to just do. Don't say anything. Don't say too much. Don't divulge too much. Don't get people's hopes up too much. Not to say that that's a bad thing or a good thing, but just with expectation comes a possible, disappointment or, or satisfaction. You want to be able to just keep your head down, do what you got to do, focus on the things that are immediate, to you as a company, and just deliver. Just do. Like I said, take the Hello Games approach with No Man's Sky. Just put your head down, work, put an announcement that says this is what we've done, not this is what we're doing. This is what we've done. And then we'll update you soon. Keep working. And then, here's another update. Keep working. And I think that's the approach they should take. And just, if they have a game that's coming, show the trailer and things like that and show gameplay. But don't do anything that's going to jeopardize the momentum that they currently have, which is people are now finally starting to look at Stadia and say, okay, they're working now. They're finally starting to, not finally, but they're taking a path that now we understand what's going on and we see what's going on and we can feel it. And now we see this direction. We see that where the train's going. Don't change the track. Just keep going and keep doing what you're doing, and it's all gonna work out.
No, I agree. I know there's some stuff that people want to see, like they want more confirmation on AAA games and stuff like that. And that's fine. I get that. And hopefully that'll all pan itself out. There will be some more transparency there. But you're 1,000% right. You got slow and steady wins the race. You know what I mean?
It sure does. It sure does, man.
So definitely great stuff. All right, well that's it for that segment, man. Great conversation. Again, if you're a member and you're in the chat, let us know what you think. Drop something in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Let us know what you think about all this great stuff. All right, now it's time for something else. Hey, look, let me tell you something. This is everything happens for a reason, and there's a reason why Main's here. Why is Main here? Because if y'all didn't know, Main is the long lost cousin of Cleo, the fortune teller. Calling me now. Main was on here last week, and we were talking about GFN, right? And we were like, GFN, it has its perks. It may not be for me, it may not be for you, Main, but what it could do is they could market themselves in a way that's better for their demographic.
Yes, sir.
And Main, we broke that down. And lo and behold, well, you know what? Better yet, let me see here. Can I find it?
We'll go ahead and give him a peek.
I'm gonna try to give him a peek if I can find my damn tweet. Let's see here. I got some here. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Oh yeah.
You know how we do. Let me show you something. All right, that was the wrong damn thing. All right, there we go. There goes the right one. Okay. Oh, Main, damn, I'm a horrible host. You gotta remind me of that. I gotta share the screen with you, Main. It's like, okay, we're gonna be sitting there giggling and laughing about this, and Main is not gonna know what the hell's going on here. All right, so now you can see it. This is a tweet that I sent out earlier. I said this message right here is fire. What should have been the original message all along? Access to PC gaming made easy. GeForce Now. I mean, and if you read this, Main, it says, it's never been easier to be a PC gamer. GeForce Now is your gateway into PC gaming. With the power of NVIDIA GeForce GPUs in the cloud, any gamer can stream titles from top digital game stores, even on low-powered hardware. I mean, pow! You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa! Whoa!
Yes, sir.
It's like they were watching SSC 87.
Man, I don't know, man. Somebody must have been in there and heard what I was talking about.
What are your thoughts on this messaging opposed to the poaching of Stadia's plug and play audience? What do you think?
Man, first off, like I must say that being fairly new to that space and coming in when I came in, it really is crazy that went down, right? I would have never thought that would have happened. So when everybody was telling me what's been going on and what's been happening, I'm just like, what? Nah, they wouldn't do that, right? And then of course doing some more research and things like that. It's I've seen and heard what kind of things went down, and that to me, it's interesting and it's crazy. You wouldn't expect somebody with a name as NVIDIA to go the route that they would go, just to be able to prove to people that their service is performing at the capacity that they expected it to, or they're advertising it. Man, it's crazy because I even said to you before, I said, man, I remember playing a game and hearing NVIDIA. You know what I mean? Like they were there. Their name is there. They don't have to prove anything, but their method and their approach was just, it surprised me. So to see that now they're finally going this route, which is what should have been the number one day one approach to their platform and to their service. This is what they should have said from the get-go. They should have said, listen, if you want to get into PC gaming and you may not have the rig, the promise of the cloud and things like that. If you want to get into this space and you may not have the proper hardware, you may not have a certain connection, a certain thing that you may think that you may need for this. This is all you have to do. This is so easy to do. Start here. Choose the library that you have here. All you need to do is maybe connect this account, and you have access to these games. Not even that. There's free games there that you can try out, you can play, and you can test out. This is what should have been said from the get-go. Man, could you imagine the impact they would have had if they had that approach that we see now from day one? Things would be so much different, and they wouldn't have to be backtracking and trying to play the Uno Reverso because they made some mistakes were made, a missteps was made. But man, I think that this is saying all that, right? You can poo-poo on them, but at the same time, I think that this is a good way to get back on track. We talked about also, I am a firm believer in giving anybody, a company in general, a company as well, a second chance.
Yep.
You give them the opportunity to say, listen, we made some mistakes and we messed up. Let's go ahead and go back to the drawing board and present a better service to our customers. And I think that this is them doing that. They finally realized that what they were doing wasn't hidden, and they gotta go back to basics. And sometimes basics, they work better. And I think I wish them well, and I hope that this works out for them.
I mean, this is the thing though.
Let's hear it.
People are going to hear this main and they're going to say, oh, that main and that MM2K, the triple M haters, that's what they're going to call us, the triple M haters, main and MM2K. And we're going to say, why? They're going to say, because GFN has more users.
Right.
And that's fine and dandy and all, and may be true. But see, GFN is a conduit service. It's a conduit to a PC rig, meaning, and then the service is only set up to make money, because that's what all businesses are set up for. The service is set up to only make money when you subscribe to it. So even though they may have more than Stadia, Stadia has more buckets to make money. And I believe that they may be making more money than GFN, even though GFN may have more users. That's because of Stadia Pro, because of a la carte purchases, because of DLC, because of you know what I'm saying, because of that deal and microtransactions, and then now they're getting a portion of. They got to be getting a portion of the Ubisoft Plus stuff, right? That GFN is getting none of that, none of it. They just get what you pay them. All right, through subscriptions. So they need to have a way higher ceiling on users, you know what I'm saying, in order to make up for the fact that, again, they have a lot of people on their free service. And if you listen to groups like Ampere, the Ampere Financial Group, they'll tell you that is GFN's problem, Stadia's problem. They weren't able to reach their 1 million concurrent users. Well, GFN's problem is they got too much damn dead weight. They got too much damn dead skin. They need to wash off. The dead skin for them is all these people on the free service that are using up the servers and ain't paying a damn dime and never plan to, because they're just me or you, man, when we're away from our powerful rig that's visiting grandma and just want to run it real quick and then go back to their powerful rig. They never plan on investing here. So, and I think they lost that opportunity to really reach those people earlier on, but hopefully they'll fix that by continuing with this messaging, is because while they had all those people in their grasp, those people were just looking at it as, oh, this is just a cloud service. I never want to invest in this. To where if you would have said, look, here is a way for you to not worry about having to make upgrades every 3.5 days. Here, try it out for free and invest in the long term to save you some money. And people would have said, you know what? This is for me. This is for my demo. and they probably would have signed up a lot. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but it's like what you were saying during SSC, Maine, that this is the messaging that makes more sense because it's NVIDIA, as you just said.
Yeah. You
can have way more than any crap. Why think so? But you were explaining this before when we were live, and I gotta hear this again because this analogy that you gave, I think, was so spot on when you were talking about people looking to the left and the right. What was that in regards to what you think they were doing? Go ahead.
I think that they have what I call the left and right syndrome, and what that means is, we as content creators, we do it too. In life, you do it, right? And what I mean by that is, in video, even though they were in their lane, they were too busy focusing on looking to the left and to the right to see what the other people were doing, and they weren't really paying attention to where they needed to be going. And so that messed them up in a way because they got so caught up in seeing what this company was doing over here or what this company was doing over here and how they can either make it work because they notice that these companies are probably further ahead than them and they want to figure out a way to either surpass them or get neck and neck with them. Well, naturally, if you're starting late, that's just how it goes. You're behind unless you have an amazing product that's going to really push you to that space and to that I guess that line or that trail or that race or wherever you're trying to go, that goal to meet them where they are, then you have to understand where you are, and you can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, we'll just go ahead and pull some people from over here and pull some people over here, and that should get us to where we need to go. Well, that thing ain't gonna last because it's not built on genuine. It's not a genuine attack, or not attack, but a tactic. It's not a genuine offer. It's not built on you really understanding what's going on and speaking to these people and say, how can we make this product better? You just want to be able to use a shortcut and have an out. But then usually what happens with that, it usually deflates and it doesn't work out the way you intended it to. And now you back at square one, which I don't know if you see that article that we still got on the screen, but case in point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they had the left and right syndrome, and they were too busy looking left and right, and they should have been facing forward.
Absolutely.
And just slow and steady.
Dusty Duran asked a question, great question from the members chat. Again, if you want to participate in the members chat and be part of the live show and be part of the show, period, just hit that join button. He says, did they get called out for trying to poach people from the Stadia community? I'm going to say this because I don't want to be too controversial, but I will say this. It was happening. It was happening. I've seen more than enough evidence that it happened. And you know what? And people may say it's sleazy or whatever. Business is business. All's fair in love and war, right?
Yep.
So I'm not mad at them for doing it. You might look at that and be like, "Oh man, that's kind of crappy." But whatever. All's fair in love and war. It's also crappy to hear Microsoft say, "Oh, I trust PlayStation, Nintendo, but I'm scared of Facebook and Google when it comes to gaming." And meanwhile, they're trying to buy up half of the the gaming landscape with Activision. But it's business, and I'm used to it. I've been, Fortune 500, 25 plus years. My thing was, it just wasn't smart. It was a wasted diversion of time to sit here and try to poach people here. You're NVIDIA. You have access to a bigger potential community than we could ever imagine at this stage of the game. It just didn't make sense. So, it makes sense to me. So, but,
okay. He also says, it's like Shadow. They focused on throwing shots at Stadia and cloud gaming interviews. Clown symbol with Stadia controller was plugged in. Pretty much.
Did you know that? When you plug your Stadia controller into Shadow, instead of a controller icon popping up in the bottom right hand corner, it's a clown symbol.
Really? See, nah. See that stuff right there, that petty stuff, man. I get it, but it's like that's what ends up making, like, we've heard it before, right? We've heard about the people talking about how gaming is a tribal environment. You know what I mean? And those tactics and those things don't help.
Yep.
And because what happens is that we become influenced by these companies, right? And then we support them, and then they start doing things like that, and then we start laughing, and then the person who we talk to, who probably is a Stadia person or a person outside of the platform that we like, and then we got something to say because we supporting this company who said something about this. It gets way out of hand. Yeah. So that right there, I didn't know about that. That's actually pretty shitty.
Yeah, and it's tasteless, it's classless, it's business, but again, like Maine said, all is fair in love and war. But like Maine said, it's in the long run. Does it really help to do that?
Nope.
To be a business and you put in the cloud, you're better off just not recognizing a controller. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's all you have to do is not recognize it and say, hey. This unfortunately this controller is not supported. Please use a compatible controller. Exactly. That's all you have.
And that's
to do.
it. You move forward.
Done.
But see, this tribalism that's in the cloud community. See, we're supposed to be tech enthusiasts that want to see the technology push forward. And of course, even in these early stages, we might have our favorites, but it's all about the technology being pushed forward nonetheless. And what kind of put a stop to that was stuff like this, was this tribalistic stuff that happened at the company level. And one thing I'll give Google never threw any shade at anybody. The closest you can say that Google did is they said you don't need a console to enjoy good games. That's all they've said.
That's it.
But you've seen, I've seen every single cloud company throw shade at Google. I've seen, I've seen GFN do it. I've seen, again, we talked about Shadow doing it. We've seen Luna do it. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of put a stinker in the whole cloud gaming. We're supporting the technology growth type thing. So.
Yeah, and I think also what makes people angry, right, is that because of Google's approach, people are just like, well, I'm not, you gonna stand there and let them talk about you? Ain't gonna say nothing?
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's to them, it's indicative of
it must
bad
be true,
bad things. It must be true, like you said, right? But in actuality, like, you don't have to feed into that.
Exactly.
And when a company doesn't feed into that, or they don't act out of the same, I guess, the same space or the same view or visions as these other companies, then it's seen as a bad thing. They just don't want to get into business. They just want to say, you know what, run your mouth, say what you got to say. I'm not going to respond to it. And at the end of the day, it's going to make you look bad. Not me.
Just traditionally, you got to understand the culture of these businesses. And while what Maine said is so prevalent, is that Google really pays attention to not punching down, as they consider it. Now, you may consider it cocky or whatever, but they don't punch down. So when they see stuff like this, unless it's coming from Microsoft that's attacking a major development wing of theirs, they're not going to respond.
Right.
And that's a gift and a curse. But it's more understandable if you understand the culture. You know what I mean? Yep. It's like the Business Insider article that came out in 2020. I remember because I covered this, and we were all laughing at Business Insider, and why I was laughing at them again when they came out with this article. Business Insider came out with an article in 2020. They said that Stadia did not make the deals to get indie games, and all they're focused on is AAAs. Now, imagine that. You know what I'm saying? We're the state of where we're at right now to that back in 2020. And by the end, and they were making fun of. I remember one of my favorite people, one of the smartest people on the planet, Aaron Hoffman John, that was working on the Stadia AI when they were still doing that part. She was making fun of Business Insider. She went and did a show and had Untitled Goose Game on her t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? To mock the fact, we don't support indie games. Meanwhile, there were deals signed with floods of indie games, as we all know now, and they're all coming out. They've all come out right after that article shut Business Insider up on anything related to Stadia for a long time. So just because Stadia doesn't respond to stuff, you know what I mean, doesn't mean that that is true. You know what I mean? So
correct.
We just got to understand that. All right. Great stuff on GFN. I'm glad they're a fan of the show, and I'm glad they're a fan of Main Games. I'm glad that they watch him and follow him. They should know all his links. Hopefully they'll post them in the thing. Courtesy of Main Games, we've now pivoted our ad. You know, last part. Credit. Yeah, exactly. Give my man his flowers. Last part I want to talk about, man, is a little section that we call Game Vibes, right? And what we do in Game Vibes is I ask people 3 questions. What game are you excited about, whether you're playing it now or something that you know is coming to Stadia, you can't wait to play it? Second, what Stadia game did you experience that you were disappointed in? And lastly, what game you hope makes it to the platform? So we'll start with the first one. What game are you excited about, whether you're playing it now or you know it's coming to Stadia?
So the game, I can answer that actually in 2 parts. The game that I am playing right now that I am enjoying a lot, and it's officially released today, but we had a chance to play it because we pre-ordered yesterday, was Final Fantasy, A Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Okay. And it's a game that's kind of like Final Fantasy's take on the Souls-like, so Dark Souls and things like that. It has that kind of feel to it, but it's multiplayer, which I believe is the first Final Fantasy outside of an MMO that they've done where you can play co-op online with other people. I think that is really, really fun. It's mission based. You have gear. You have 27 classes that you can change on the fly. They have all these different things that they have going on. And I really, really am enjoying it right now. And my daughter's still running her mouth there. Hey, and so that's the game that I'm pretty much enjoying right now. But sweetheart, give me a second. Give me a second, sweetheart. Give me a second, honey. Okay, well, give me a second. Okay,
she told us my time.
Yes, yeah. She said there's a bug in the kitchen. Well, guess what? You might want to stay out of the kitchen. Yeah. All right. So there's that game, but of course, a game that's actually on its way to Stadia that I'm excited about. To be honest, man, it's this game that I saw called X Defiant, and man, it's from it's from Ubisoft, and it takes place in the Division universe, and it's a first-person shooter that is it's kind of coming for Call of Duty in a way. You have abilities and things like that. Is you have missions or a little, I guess you could say, what do you call those things? In between the matches, you have missions or little things you have to do, you know, like objectives. That's what I was looking for, objectives to do in there. But also you're killing other teammates, and not the teammates, but other allies and enemies and other things like that you're going against, and other things like that, like other team-based focused stuff. But it's really like a game that I'm really, really interested in because, for one, I came from, you know, that kind of scene. I played Halo, I played you know, Destiny, I played all those first-person shooters like Call of Duty, and to see this game coming to Stadia, and you can actually sign up for it now. There's like a beta, I believe, they're getting ready to jump into, and you can choose your platform, and it's coming to Stadia. But the fact that I saw that gameplay really, really got me excited and got me hyped. So excited that I stumbled and couldn't say what I was needing to say. But it's a game that really, really is something I think could be really interesting for the platform and be able to have that competitive, I guess you could say that competitive feel, much like PUBG or Rainbow Six Siege like it is now. I think we need more games like that on the platform, and that game is going to really surprise people in a tremendous way, I think. But as far as I think you said the next one was what am I disappointed in? A game that I played I'm disappointed in was the next one, I believe.
Yeah, but particularly on Stadia. Is there any Stadia game that you played that you were disappointed in?
A particular Stadia game that I'm disappointed in that I played. I honestly would have to say that the one game that I played that really kind of like made me kind of sigh a little bit because I was expecting it to be a good game. I honestly thought that it would have to go to the current state of it, I guess you could say, is Judgment. And I think for me, it's that way because for whatever reason, it doesn't run well for me.
That's crazy.
It doesn't. And wow. I don't know what it is. I tried many different ways. I've tried the settings. I have the plug-in. I even tried to disable it. I've tried all these different things to get it to run well, and I've even did like an unlisted stream to show other people, hey, am I in the wrong, or is there something I'm doing wrong, you know? And it just would not run for me, and I think that kind of hindered my experience, so to speak. and it just made it kind of man, it really disappointed me that I wasn't able to play it the way that I expected to play it. But I would say that, I guess, if you could say that if you want to just take the maybe that could be right, maybe that could be just hardware, that could be software. Let's say, okay, maybe that's not a good reason to really say that you're disappointed by the game. Okay, fine. I'll give you another example of a game that I actually played and it actually ran well, and it still may not have hit me the same way. I wanted to really like Pixel Junk Raiders.
Okay.
I really wanted to like that game.
Yeah.
And some of the features they were talking about, the save state, the state share, I really wanted to like that game. And I played it for about an hour just to give it a good enough amount of time, and it just didn't click. And I wanted to. I was hyped up about it. I saw the trailers and I watched them over and over again, and I was really excited. And when I got my hands on it, man, it just didn't feel the way that I expected it to. So I guess I'll go with Pixel Junk Raiders if you want to go with the former being a little based on outside, I guess you could say outside interference, outside technical difficulties. Maybe it could be server, it could be the developer, it could be a patch, I don't know. But if based on what I've played, then I've had some good time with, no hiccups, no stuttering, just gameplay, I would have to say Pixel Junk Raiders then.
Gotcha. Mine's changed from week to week, and I think. Okay. And I think now that's interesting about Judgment, though, because Judgment for me, that was up in my top port section. Not only did the game look good, but it played fantastic for me.
Wow.
So it might be that might warrant a call, unless you've already returned it. That might warrant a call to Stadia help desk. Shoot.
Really?
You get that game running smooth, bro. Woo! Matter of fact, I need to finish that game. And I don't even like games. I don't like the Yakuza series, whatever. But when I played Judgment, I was really shocked how much I enjoyed that game. So
yeah, I mean, it feels great. I love the way that they went. It's just that it just, like I said, it doesn't run well for me. I mean, I have direct connection. I have a really, really great speed out here where I am. We get great connection. So I have no idea I don't know, man. I get stutters. I get lag. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, wow, crazy. The game I'm excited about right now, y'all, is Division 2. Division 2 has really been thrown a lot of attention as of late, and I checked it out, and I couldn't see off the bat. I mean, I know it's a great game. It's my most played game on Stadia, period. But I couldn't see why there was all this reinvigorated attention towards it until I looked at some builds that people were using now. And I said, oh man, okay. So then I've been playing it, and then now there's a global event this weekend for those of y'all that are not aware. So you definitely, because the global event is dope, and I played some of it on StadiaDosage stream. So after this, if you want to check that out, we had a hell of a lot of fun. We had some people from our clan, the Old Dirty Blasters. They came in. We was wrecking shop. And we got a lot of points, so I'm gonna be buying some stuff this weekend, but I'm gonna be playing it again tomorrow. But with all that said, it's really, the game is just fantastic. It gets me more excited for Heartlands whenever that drops. So I can't wait till that comes. So my answer for the games I'm excited about are Division 2 and then Heartland. I can't wait to get a hold of that on Stadia. Game on Stadia that I was disappointed in. I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. I'm gonna still main use Judgment. Pixel Junk Raiders.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Pixel Junk. I'm still half his answer. Pixel Junk Raider, because I really wanted to like that game.
Yeah, man.
But it just, I mean, I love the art style, I love the concept, but it just,
absolutely.
But there wasn't enough
there execution.
Like flying in the air. There seemed to be some gimmicks there, but really not a lot of meat and potatoes.
Yep, and that's the crazy thing is that for me, I gave it a lot of praise in that it looks good. The color palette was great. I
Yep.
like the smoothness of the gameplay, but it's just like you said, it seemed like there was something missing. Whether or not you could put your finger on it or not, you were like there's something here that's not exactly working as intended, and I don't know what it is, and I can't pinpoint it, but something doesn't feel right here.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I feel about it. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that's very interesting, and I hear, I've never really played the pixel junk games, but I hear that people love them. They're synonymous with like PlayStation, I think, and Nintendo.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I mean, this one just, doesn't do it for me. The game that I hope makes it to the platform. I was surprised you didn't say this one after we were talking, because we didn't do SSC podcast yesterday because we had some scheduling conflicts. More importantly, and then I was like, oh, I forgot this was showing. But the was it Hogwarts Legacy?
Yo,
man, shaboing boing. Hey, look, man. That game looks fire. And then look, my brother Z was streaming it on Broadband Bullies, and he was like, "Oh man, this is trash." But they were getting on him because they were like, "Hold on, how is you hating on this? Because this is Harry Potter." And I know Harry Potter seems like a childish, goofy thing, but you're in a Forbidden, which I'm into both. And I'm like, this is kind of similar. I mean, like the action sequences look so dope, and this is open world. I mean, I don't know about you, man, but what are your thoughts on what you saw of Hogwarts Legacy?
Man, being a Harry Potter, like I'm gonna just tell you right now, man. I remember my record for my fastest Harry Potter book read was I remember when Goblet of Fire came out, and that book has like 732 pages, I believe. I read that book in about a day and a half.
Yeah,
like that. Like I love the world of Harry Potter, man. I think that, like they were saying, right, we've been waiting for a game that encompasses everything that is Harry Potter, Hogwarts. All of the things that we've seen in the movies and read in the books that we wanted to see. We imagined, we wanted to see that, what would have been like if this were real, We get a chance to walk around in that world, man. The gameplay looks solid. You're a dueler. You can, wield spells. You can weave spells. You can, if you want to turn around and work on cultivating your potion brewing, you can work on that. If you want to tame animals and rescue animals, you can do that too. You want to travel down to I hope Diagon Alley, you can do that. You can fly on a broom, or you can walk. There's so many different things there that just, man, it felt like Harry Potter, man. I honestly am like really excited for that game. And if that game comes to the platform, of course, with this initiative that we're doing with the game porting, make things a lot easier. Man, I would absolutely love to have that game come to the platform, and I will be playing it and I might not even stream that damn game. I want that. I told somebody, actually, I said, if I get that game on whatever platform, I'm keeping that game to myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
I gotta say, there's other games that I have, but I'll mention them later. Man, I'm excited, but I want to see that game come to Stadia. Stadia, you got to get that game, even if you don't get a day and date. You got to get it. Right. You got to get it. You have to get that. Yeah,
come on, Harry Potter, like the game we've been wanting for what they say 2 decades, just about. Is now coming to Stadia. Man.
And I was dropping on the Switch. It's dropping on the Switch, and this is an open world game.
Wow.
So it's dropping on the Switch natively, bro.
Wow.
Natively. Yeah, I saw that this morning. Shout out to Snow Bunny at PNTS. She sent out a tweet this morning that said, woke up and found out that Hogwarts Legacy is coming to Switch and is coming natively. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So Stadia.
Oh, that's crazy.
I get where we don't want it to be like 2019, 2020 when we're coming out with the bags. But you got it. But something's got to give with this one.
Yep.
And this is why.
Look at it like that, man. Oh my God. Please.
Man, I'm gonna throw this at you because a lot of people, and this is a great conversation I think we can have, and then we can wrap up.
Yeah.
I think. See, okay, All right, so before the Stadia keynote was even mentioned, QLock, the development team that brought us the polished Cyberpunk 2077 for Stadia, they were bought by Tencent, right? So
Yes.
I looked at that and I'm like, man, that sucks. Because we could have used them. And people were like, nah, bro, like Stadia's got this new porting toolkit, that's going to make bringing games over easier. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. I get you what you're saying. So we didn't miss out on anything. But then when the Stadia keynote happened, I see the partners using it right now. And even though I'm happy to see what I'm seeing, I was hoping it was a little bit more robust. It was only 9 people, and the biggest game on there that we know of that used it was MotoGP 21. So I went and temporarily tried out MotoGP 21. It's not a game for me, so I will be returning it. But I went to go try it out just to see like how dope is this developer toolkit. And here's what I can tell you: the performance is top notch, and it looks okay. It looks like, I'm assuming that what happened is the development toolkit will get the game up and running on Stadia with great performance, get it looking okay, from the start, and then there's still additional tweaking that you can do from there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it sounds like to me, like for instance, I'll put it to you like this: from what I see from MotoGP, it don't look like no Division. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the development toolkit off the bat, unless it's going to get you having a game that's going to look like the Division, what it's going to do is get a game over there that's going to look good. It's not going to look sloppy or blurry or anything, but it's going to look good.
Yeah.
And it's going to run well. And if you wanted to go beyond that, you still got to be some additional tweaking. So to me, especially I can see why they're doing this for consoles and even the Switch. And the port it to Switch, I know this is going to be an MFer to try to get it on the Switch. But it's going to be a lucrative venture. But what Stadia could be doing right now, while the development toolkit rollout is slow, is going, still going on, is that they could have used a company like QLock to get these, look, not only can you use the toolkit, but we're going to brush up the game with our text and get the game looking fantastic here. You know what I'm saying? And, and make this a viable place to play it too on any screen. Right. You know what I mean? But I don't know. What do you think about that? Am I being too lofty in my thoughts?
No. I think it's okay for that expectation, but it just depends on how they go about it. Because I would honestly kind of see the same way. But I think that we, once again, right? We talked about just they have that tech that they're working on. We just gotta give them more time to work on that, man. I think that it's just one of those things. I think to me, it's one of those things where it's good to be able to say, okay, we can outsource this stuff, and it may be better because they're more adept at it, and it makes the turnaround time much faster. But to me, I think it feels a certain way and it hits different when you can do that in-house. You know what I mean? When you can say, hey, we're just going to work on this and we're going to keep building on it, and we'll bring some stuff out. It's going to be a little bit, but just work with us, and then we'll get it out in time. I think that it is nothing wrong though with your stance at all, man. I honestly would see it the same way. So I think you're cool, man. There's people out there who see things on the other side, and there's people who agree with us and see things your way as well. So I mean, either way, man. The good news is that we're getting ported. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That is true.
We got ports coming.
Facts. And then we've seen it on. I guess you could consider MotoGP AAA game. We've seen it on a AAA game. And like I said, look. I haven't compared it to MotoGP 20 yet, but shout out to PSX Cloud. He said it looks so, and he showed shots of it. He got a video up on there, so check him out. PSX Cloud. It looks better. Looks a lot better. Where you can tell that with the older one, they just wanted to get it on there. They just had to meet a contractual obligation. You know what I'm saying? So if they got the same mind state, because they weren't even bringing the game to the platform, man. If they got the same mind state and the development toolkit just boom, put it on there, and it looks better than when they had to manually do it, that's a positive sign.
Exactly, and that's kind of how sometimes we, That's why I have to remind myself sometimes, like, hey, sometimes you want to say this, you want to say that, based on what was provided to you. But then I have to take myself back from that and to say, but is it being provided? I understand it may not be provided the way that you anticipate right now, but is it being provided? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, in the meantime, in between time, be grateful for that fact, and then, let them work on it on their own and work on it some time. And until then, you got other stuff you can play and other things you can, find you're interested in. So some of the games they start porting work the way that you want it to. I know we both probably have massive backlogs. So, in the meantime, in between time, we'll just play Division 2 while they brush up, Bomberman 2039, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. And we'll just come back to a little bit later, check in every now and then and see how it works. But yeah, much like earlier, right? We just got to give it time. Just give them time and they'll work it out. But I think that this is going to be a great move, and I'm excited to see what happens because of it, man.
Yeah. I'm wondering too, if Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because there was an excerpt somewhere where Ubisoft said something to the effects that they were playing around with this thing too. So I'm wondering if the Assassin's Creed Valhalla updates, like since it had the 60 frames per second mode, I'm wondering if those are going through the tool.
That's interesting. You know what? Because I have that game and I haven't booted it up in a little bit. I probably should check it out and see.
Yeah, have you booted it up since it had the 60 frames per second mode? I
don't think I have.
Oh, you need to. Look, I'm gonna say this. This is gonna make a lot of people mad.
Okay.
The 60 frames per second Assassin's Creed Valhalla mode looks so good that I remember when I had the 3080 tier, and I got video evidence to this. When I had the 3080 tier of GFN, when I first got it and I was playing it, I initially didn't know which one was which.
Wow.
That's how good it looks. So I don't know if that was just a bad day. Well, no, because the GFN was giving it to me in 1440p. I was getting a sharper image from Stadia, but of course the GFN version had better textures, and I was getting screen tearing and stuff like that. But when I was looking at the screen, at first I didn't know which was which, and then I had to look deeply, and I said, oh yeah, the textures are better over here. So here goes the GFN one. But that's how good the Stadia one looks. So you got to check that out. And if that is a result of the development toolkit or the upgraded one, we got a lot of promise and stuff in the future.
Man, see, I'll definitely check that out, man, because that's what I want to see. I want to see that kind of promise, and that makes things a lot more exciting. To me, I don't know about you, but I get excited when I hear there's a new patch, because I'm like, let me see how this works out now. And I didn't really know, I didn't really hear much about it, so that's why I'm excited now. Man, hell, as soon as this is over, I'm booting it up because I want to see how it runs.
Boot it up.
I'm definitely gonna check that out,
man. All right, and with that said, that is it, folks, for Saturday Checkup. We appreciate our guest for this Saturday/Friday. Main Games, man. Woo! Right, like I told y'all, rising star in the community, man. Y'all better check out his channel. He dropped it here in the chat. We're gonna have it in the description too. But definitely check it out. But Maine, let the people know where they can find you at again if they missed it before.
Man, you can find me here, which is one of those. I don't know if it's going to show up. Twitter at Main_games. You find me there. I'm pretty much there more than any other social media at the moment. That's where I pretty much all my peeps are at, and we talk and we chat. I talk about all kind of different things. So it's not just games either. I post picture of my cappuccinos. I talk about all kind of stuff. I love all kind of different topics. So that, but also, like I said, YouTube. My link is also there in the chat, but also it's Main Games, just Main Space Games. You can search me on YouTube, and I do all kind of content there. I talk about cloud gaming. I talk about motivational videos. I'm doing gameplays or walkthroughs. I just put up my God of War video that I'm playing through with. Actually, I'm really excited about this one because I'm playing that right now on PC. I'm streaming it right now. Not streaming it, but playing it. But I decided to try something different, and I'm playing with no HUD. So that makes things a little more interesting. So it's a little more cinematic, and you pretty much are the viewers are pretty much relying on the fact that I know what I'm doing and I don't die. So that makes things a little bit interesting. But yeah, I got all kind of content that I'm coming out with and that I'm working on. So please, check me out there, and that's all I got pretty much for right now, man.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that said, check out my brother, man. Again, shooting star in the community. You definitely want to check out all of his platforms so you don't miss a moment of his content. And of course, I am MM2K here of StadiaDosage and PNTS Network. I got a bunch of stuff coming through. Again, if you're watching this via Premiere on Demand and you missed my 20-minute video giving you my final assessment on the Stadia Keynote, go back and check that out. I got Division 2 videos that are coming because we're gonna Old Dirty Blasters, man. We're doubling down on that. And again, if you want to join the Old Dirty Blasters, go to the PNTSnetwork.com. Then go to here. Let me show you. Let me do this super quick. PNTSnetwork.com. Go to Christ, I don't even know my own website. PNTSnetwork.com. Then you go to PNTS Plus and you'll see Old Dirty Blasters Clan right there. Click on that. And then what you're going to want to do is go, scroll past the chicken, or what is that? That's Ramadan. I'm sorry, Bites. Scroll past the ads. Go to ODB Clan, Tom Clancy's in Division 2. Click on there and then just fill out the form. That's all you got to do. Fill out the form. We'll get a notification and we'll get you set up because we're ready to do raids, all that stuff. So check us out. We're a clan. We're active. We're getting member caches every week. Shout out to Tommy Rocks is really putting in the work. I'm starting to put in some stuff, but definitely check us out there. Right. And with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming through. Y'all have a great weekend and have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.
Peace, y'all.